present at this meeting, either in person, via phone, or via Zoom, who would like to address the board? I am seeing none. I am hearing none. Therefore, I will close the public comment period. We'll move on to item number 3, which is the consent agenda consisting of the minutes of August 24th, 2022, program updates, the executive director update, finance report, and a solid waste implementation plan inclusion request. I want to make one point in that the minutes of the August 24th, 2022 meeting, the header starting on page 2 of those minutes states that it's the July 27th, 2022 meeting, but in fact it relates to the August 24th meeting, a minor correction that I'm sure will be put in the permanent record, but I just wanted to point that out for the record. Are there any requests to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion? I am hearing none. I am seeing none. Consent agenda then is approved as presented. Next item on the agenda is item number 4, personnel rules and regulations, requested changes. This memo begins on page 21 of your board packet, and I'll turn it over to Amy Jewell at this point to lead us through this.
Thank you. So as the memo states, we are looking to make some changes to our holiday schedule. You'll notice the memo heading, it says discussion only. It actually is coming to the board for board action requested tonight. We did bring this to the executive board to discuss, and they were in favor of moving this forward to the full board. So change number 1 that we are interested in changing is removing President's Day from our holiday list, which is the 3rd Monday in February, and replacing that with the Juneteenth holiday. And our Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, which we're really excited about, has just recently started. We've done quite a bit of work, and one of the conversations that we had as a committee was that the Juneteenth holiday, the hope was that the district would want to recognize and celebrate that holiday. And when we looked at the holiday schedule, Sarah wasn't comfortable with the addition of a holiday, but did look at the schedule and say, in place of perhaps President's Day is one that we could remove. So that is request number 1. Request number 2 is our current holiday schedule, and it's been this way for 30 years, is that it's been a day and a half at the Christmas holiday. So that's 12 hours total. So Christmas Eve has always been a half day for facilities. And we recognize that that is difficult for most of our staff to spend time with their family. And we had requests from the staff, could we close for the entire day? So if this is approved, it would be an addition of 4 hours. We had the discussion at the executive board meeting. For some of us, we can use vacation time to supplement that, but not operations folks, because we don't have other people that can fill in. So when they request December 24th off because of family things, the answer is generally no for most everybody, because we don't have 25 other people that can fill that slot. We did look at the number of folks that go to our facilities, and we had the conversation that we assume most of them will just go on another day, so it doesn't feel like a loss of revenue. It does mean we'll be busier on other days that following week, but we think that we can handle it with the staff that we have. So our hope is that the board would approve removing President's Day, adding the Juneteenth holiday, and then including December 24th as a full day off. Are there any questions?
First, Sarah, do you want to add anything else?
No, that covers everything. Amy did a great job.
Very good. Let's take these in 2 parts. We'll
Sure.
open it up to commissioners for questions and discussion. So the first change, which would be to remove President's Day from the holiday list and add Juneteenth in its place. Are there any comments or questions, observations from the board? it certainly is a nicer time of year to have to take a day off in June. On the other hand, of course, it makes the winter a little bit longer if you're looking forward to a day off. But, and I would take it, this got widespread support from both the committee and what you can tell from staff.
Yes.
My personal concern is that it really should be something that staff would like to do, and it's not just, kind of a top-down decision. So if it's requested and supported by the staff, I personally would be in favor of it.
No, it definitely was, and the support for the JEDI committee work in particular has been very strong. And this is something that was identified earlier in the year, back in April or May, and it really was just too late in the fiscal year at that point to request this change. So we told the members of the committee that we would bring it back for consideration earlier in the next fiscal year, which is where we are now.
Thank you.
I just think that, I think it's great to add Juneteenth. I think it's sad to drop President's Day. And was there any discussion about just adding Juneteenth and not dropping something?
There was, yes, and due to some of the conversations that came up as a result of the Gallagher-Flynn study, which did say that we have a good supply of holidays already, we thought that it would be more readily acceptable to do a swap for one of kind of the lesser holidays. However, we would not say, no, don't let us have a February day off. Certainly, staff would absolutely appreciate that very much, but we were being sensitive to the results of that study that said we already are on the higher end of paid holidays.
We are in line with other municipal organizations for the holiday, but in that study looked at private as well, so that's why. But I'd be all in favor of letting our staff know we added a day. That'd be a wonderful email to send out.
Right, indeed.
There's always the opportunity to amend a motion when we get to that point. So,
Well, I feel like, voice in the wilderness probably.
any other comments or discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have any evidence that these changes would or would not cause any problems for our commercial customers, particularly the Christmas Eve closing?
We're just on the Juneteenth one. We'll get.
Oh, just on the 13th. Pardon me.
That's going to be.
Yeah.
I'll recognize you as soon as we get to that one. But,
Save that.
Sorry, I asked.
yeah,
No.
save the question.
Save it.
Yeah. But this is somewhat of a public-facing change. Well, is it actually Juneteenth? We would normally have been in operation, say, for the public-facing operations, the drop-off centers.
Correct.
So
Correct.
this is a change, but no diminishment or diminution of the total amount of time that's available for people to bring their materials
Correct.
to either a drop-off center or to the MRF.
The MRF would not be affected because we contract for those services with Casella, so they are Casella employees. So that schedule is unaffected. We're talking just about CSWD facilities.
Again, just staying with the Juneteenth holiday, any other questions or comments? Then let's move on then to the suggestion, proposed change number 2, adding 4 hours of holiday time, which does have a budgetary impact that's identified in here because it would be additional hours and an additional benefit. But Rick, you want to ask your question then?
Yes. Will this have any negative impact on our commercial customers if we're closed entirely on Christmas Eve?
So again, for the MRF, no. For the environmental depot, all the commercial customers have to make appointments anyway, so that will be unaffected. We don't see much commercial activity at the drop-off centers as it is. It tends to be mostly residential, but there could be some impact to small businesses if they, were intending to come in on that day. And then at Green Mountain Compost, again, it would be minimal. We don't tend to see much inbound material on a Saturday, which is what this is this year. On days where the Christmas holiday is midweek or on a weekday, that is a consideration. So what we normally do, and what we would continue to do, would be to run a skeleton crew for inbound material acceptance only at, say, the Green Mountain Compost, for example, to make sure that haulers could, if they were collecting on that day, would still be able to drop off food scraps. And that's something we do normally, and we would continue that practice.
Thank you.
And we did have discussion at the exec board about the impacts after Christmas, which is really when the demand for our drop-off centers is high with all of the post-Christmas material that
Yes.
needs to be moved. And I think it was quite emphatic that there would be no change was entertained for the day before, or I guess it would be New Year's Eve itself. But
Correct. New Year's Eve is not effective. This year, though, with Christmas on a Sunday, it is a little different. So Amy, if you could explain that again.
So when it falls on a Sunday, our facilities are closed on Monday. So we would be closed on the 26th, because that would be the observed holiday for staff for this year.
And when it falls on a Saturday, the observed day is the day before.
For the admin, it would be the day before. For operations that are normally open, it's that day. Correct.
I just want, Bryn, your hand is up.
Thanks. I'm curious what the JEDI committee discussed as it relates to adding hours to a denominational holiday.
I don't know that that was addressed.
So it wasn't.
Okay. That's a good question.
Yeah, we can certainly take a look at that.
Other questions and comments from the board? Again, I'd point out that there is a dollar impact of roughly $6,800 should the additional hours be incorporated into our personnel policy. And personally, I think it's considerate, and I'm always concerned about work-life balance. The day before Christmas is generally an important and family day, and I think it's a good step forward for the district to give our employees the full time off, or the full day off. But that's just my opinion. Bryn, your hand is up again, but Katie, let's let Katie go, and then Bryn will cycle back to you.
Wondering if it was appropriate to make a motion to adopt the proposed changes as presented by staff for Juneteenth in place of President's Day, adding 4 hours off for staff on Christmas Eve.
Thank you. It's been moved. Do we have a second? We'll have an opportunity for further discussion.
A second.
Actually, Rhonda, you can't second because you're from Winooski, and
Bryn is here.
Bryn is here at the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. We're still looking.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Leslie. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the changes as presented. Bryn, your hand is up.
Yeah, I was going to ask about moving them separately.
About what?
Moving them separately.
Moving them separately. That could be, I think that's can we take that as a friendly amendment
We'll go
here?
back to Katie, yes.
Katie, would you be okay with amending your motion to take them in separately? The first part of that being proposed change number 1?
Sure. I would like to propose that we adopt the first proposed change in adding Juneteenth holiday in place of President's Day holiday as presented by staff.
Thank you. And our second, would you be agreeable to that change?
Yes, and I would like to propose that we adopt the changes to add 4 hours to Christmas Eve to allow staff the full day as presented by staff.
What we want to do, Katie, is take them as 2 separate motions and not vote on them together, but have the opportunity to vote on each requested change independently. So if your motion, I hope, would be, the first motion would be just to deal with proposed change number 1, which is Juneteenth.
Correct.
Okay.
Paul, I'll second that.
Thank you, Ken. So it's been moved and seconded to deal just with proposed change number 1 of President's moving or removing President's Day from the holiday list and adding Juneteenth. Is there further discussion on this motion and this one proposed change? I'm seeing none, I'm hearing none. All those in favor of adopting the motion or to remove President's Day and add Juneteenth in its place to our holiday calendar, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay and raise your hand. Any abstentions? The motion carries. We're now on to proposed change number 2. Katie, I'll entertain you to make that motion.
Okay, I would like to move that we adopt the addition of 4 hours on Christmas Eve to allow employees a full day off as presented by staff.
Thank you very much. Do we have a second for this motion?
Second, Heinsberg.
Thank you, Rick. It's been moved and seconded to add 4 hours of holiday time on December 24th. Is there further discussion on this motion? I am seeing none. I am hearing none. I believe then we're ready for the question. All those in favor of adding 4 hours of holiday time on December 24th? I'm sorry? All those in favor of the motion to add 4 hours of holiday time on December 24th, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay and raise your hand. Abstentions, please.
Aye.
Thank you. We have
Abstain.
2 abstentions. I believe the motion will carry as presented and voted, so we will add 4 hours then to our holiday schedule, to our time off. Thank you very much. We're now ready to move on to item number 5, which is the bond vote update of the materials recovery facility. Well, I'll turn that over to you, Sarah.
Thank you. And I apologize, I had intended to have an update to the last month's memo in there, but there is information, both the materials that were sent out, and I have information in my executive director update about the bond vote. We are proceeding with lots of presentations. We've had several this past month. I gave 2 yesterday. Was it only yesterday? I think it was yesterday. And we have some additional presentations coming up. So yesterday was the Burlington Transportation, Energy, and Utilities Committee and the town of Shelburne. We have, I believe, Winooski is coming up as, no, but yes, Winooski is coming up, as is Williston. For select board meetings. We have also been going to Rotaries and to, I'm not sure if we have the chamber. Jen, you would know better if we've got the chambers coming up. But we've been going to the Rotaries as well. So there's been a lot of great conversations. We have not had great attendance at our public forums. So that was why we initially reduced the public forums down from the planned 4 down to 2. We do have, the required public hearing will be on November 1st, and that will be here at Williston Town Hall. And Jan, I'm probably forgetting some things. Fill in some blanks for me, please.
We have the FAQ. I'm sorry, my camera's not turning on. But we have a FAQ sheet out that has been distributed to our drop-off centers, town clerks that want them. I'm sorry, not town clerks. Yeah, on our website, we have the FAQ and also a fact sheet. And we had the postcard that was mailed this week and has arrived in people's mailboxes. And lots of impressions from our digital ads it's really ramping up and getting noticed.
Thank you. And I will reflect on and just draw a highlight to one of the items in my executive director update on the financing. And I did have a conversation with the representative from the EPA, and their grant process is still in the works. They are hoping to have the applications ready for municipalities to utilize by around mid-October. The federal government fiscal year is an October to September fiscal year. So their goal is to have some money out very, very soon and have the applications reviewed within about 60 days after that period closes. So a very quick turnaround, particularly for the federal government. So the hope is that we would have results and know if we are being awarded a grant very early in the next calendar year. So we will certainly apply for the maximum amount that is available for application, whatever that is determined to be, and they are still determining what that range of dollar amount is. Again, the process is, for this particular round of the infrastructure grant, which is what we will be applying for, is a competitive round, which bodes well for us, because we have probably one of the very few nearly shovel-ready projects, again, pending a positive outcome on November 8th, ready to go. And again, looking at implementing significant technology that is aligned with the EPA's goals and really fits the bill of this grant program. So I'm feeling very positive about our potential for receiving some funding from the EPA through the Swiffer grant process. And I will certainly give another update as soon as I have it, but definitely in the October board packet in my memo.
Discussion, questions from commissioners? I do have a question. Should we have a successful vote in November, how soon then could you lock in the interest rate on the loan or on the monies that we would borrow? I'm always concerned about the rising interest rate environment, and I don't know if you have an answer to that tonight.
I don't, but I will double check with the bond bank to see when that would be locked in. So I will have that in my next update as well.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Again, I can attest to the exposure to certainly online. Every time I'm on social media, I see something about the MRF. Maybe it's because I don't do much on social media and I don't click too much, but there's a lot of presentations I'm getting exposed to. But kudos to staff for working on that.
And am I correct, this is about the time that the staff recommends that we as representatives start posting stuff on Front Porch Forum in addition to what the district is posting, or not?
Thank you for the question. Very good question. So I would like to have Michelle and Jen work up a revised calendar. So we will get that revised schedule out to commissioners within the next couple of days, certainly by early next week. And so just to I want to make sure that we are aligning those posts properly. So let me make sure that we get the most updated calendar out to you before anyone does anything soon. So thank you for asking that question. That was important.
And again, there are two parts to this. One is certainly to vote, but the more important part is how to vote and the issue of
information about our project,
yeah.
Right? Just to make sure there's awareness that this is
I would like to say that the Jericho Town Clerk has done a very good job
yes.
of making people aware on Front Porch Forum how to vote for the CSWD bond. So.
Yeah, you have a very good clerk in Jericho. Yes. I must say, she's wonderful.
Other discussion on the materials of the MRF bond vote update, part of our agenda tonight. We are moving right along, which I'm sure is well appreciated by all of us. We're now ready to move on to item number 6, which is an executive session for the discussion of a MRF contract amendment and administrative lease. Do we have language to enter executive session?
Sure. I move that the Board of Commissioners of the Chittenden Solid Waste District go into executive session to discuss the MRF contract and administrative office lease where premature general public knowledge would clearly place the district, its member municipalities, and other public bodies or persons involved at a substantial disadvantage, and to permit authorized staff, other invited interested parties, and the Solid Waste District attorney to be present for this session.
Thank you. Does anyone care to move this motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Leslie. From Jericho, do we have a second?
Seconded, Wilson.
Thank you. All those in favor of entering executive session? I didn't catch the comment. No. All those in favor of entering executive session, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? We'll now move over to executive session for those folks. Through December 31st, 2022, under the same terms and conditions that they've been operating under for quite some time, at least with the most recent contract. Any discussion on the motion? I think we're ready then for the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Contract is extended.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is other business. Any other business to bring forth to the to the body? I would only point out for upcoming meetings in October, Finance Committee meets on October 12th, 5 p.m. The Exec Board, I believe, is October 17th, and the full board meets on October 26th. All those meetings are open to all commissioners. If you want to know what's going on, going to those committee meetings is really valuable. So always encourage you, if you've got the time, to attend. No other business before us. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, Paul, you have a question or comment? We can't hear you.
One
Hold
moment,
on.
Paul.
There we go. No, it's our end. You're set. Okay, let's see, a motion to adjourn, do we have that? Has it been moved and seconded? I've
No.
lost my-
So moved.
Thank you, Burlington. Do we have a second?
Katie.
Thank you, Katie. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Any abstention? We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.